Hello all. Alright, foggy morning this morning, a little drizzle, but fairly warm. But the forecast day after tomorrow is for possible thunder showers. Well, thunder and dry grass don't go together. The lightning will set off fires all over the place if this was to happen, especially now as dry as it is. To actually have a storm front come through, but I'm not seeing it on the radar. I don't know where it's going to be coming from or anything else on that matter. So, not only are we seeing weird weather here, but look at what's happening in Europe. Look at Germany's floods. And the heat waves in the Middle East and on Russia and the fires. All over the globe we're seeing what they call catastrophic events that should only be 100 or 1,000 year events are now becoming 3 to 4 year events. So I guess we just have to get used to it and start building our dwellings out of solid reinforced concrete that can take anything that nature can throw at us at this time. So let's talk about the Amazon forest. Humanity has flipped the Amazon forest from a carbon sink to a carbon source, a feedback loop. So what's happening? Well, Barcelona in Brazil is telling everybody, let's go out and burn up the forest and replace it with crops, and you can make money off it, so go out there and do it. Well, they went out and did it, and now it's all on fire, and all that fire is causing so much CO2 that it's replacing whatever the forest can possibly do. With emissions from CO2 from flames. One of the loops are fire and cattle ranching. See, we can make feedback loops too here in the U.S. or anywhere else. If your people are poor and need to eat and they go to the fast food joint to buy their burgers, and their burger meat comes from clear jungle where cattle ranches are just eating the jungle right down to the bare roots, you'll see that the jungle there's a definite difference between cattle ranching and pristine jungle. There's a big difference, and the pristine jungle is what's disappearing, so that poor people in the US and the UK and other countries can have their burgers and afford the meat because it's raised down in South America where you don't make much money down there. So the labor cost is very low, and they make a lot of money at it, shipping it to rich countries and selling this low-grade meat. The reason it's low-grade is because the grass they eat is so nutritionally denute. There isn't any. It's just basically grass and a lot of fiber, and there's not much nutrition, so the meat is very lean and bony. So what can we do about this? Well, it's obvious. Stop cutting the Amazon down. It just needs to be done. Stop cutting the Amazon down. Restore the cut down areas as best as possible. The jungles take thousands to 1 million years to evolve into a full jungle. So when the jungle is on fire, it releases 3 times more CO2 into the atmosphere than the trees that aren't burned can take in. So burning forest is a big no-no. That's a hell of a bad thing to happen at this time when we don't need any more feedback loops. But feedback loops are going to become the norm, and it will get hotter and warmer and more stormy and harder rains, more tornadoes, and more heavy lightning with big softball-sized hail. Well, who is responsible for the cutting down of the jungle? Well, a good portion of it is the beef and soybean production. Also, any kind of oils, soy oil, that sort of thing. These oils are in big demand right now, and the forest is certainly seeing its results of that. Fewer trees, less rain, and higher temperature, making the dry seasons even worse for the remaining forests. Save the Amazon. Stop cutting it down. So, how can we stop the Amazon from becoming cut? Stop eating at fast food joints. Become a vegetarian. Forget that hardwood floor and go with a cotton based carpeting pad system and try and live above somebody else or below somebody else in a tower type thing. It's much more efficient for the planet than having to make a whole big huge plot for a house, and all the land around it is changed for the human and not for the indigenous life that lives there. So they start to starve because the actual food has been taken away from them. So we have another piece of good news. Now, this is only good news for a while until the Republicans get back in. Biden to restore protections for the Tongass National Forest. He's going to put back the roadless rules. Good. Hopefully it's in time. We've been hollering about this for how long on Pink Barrio to get that done. We don't want the roads built in the Tongass, because once the roads are in, then there's nothing stopping them from coming in and clear cutting. And nobody will be there to even know it. So that's another check on Joe Biden's history. He's being pretty good on environment so far. Let's just hope it keeps going and it goes so it's in these bills so that we can get out of using fossil fuels. Why does the U.S. subsidize fossil fuels? Because you can't afford it unless they do subsidize it. That's the truth. It's a lot more expensive than you think. All the infrastructure, all the checks, all the environmental regulations, all this takes a toll on petrochemical industry. And the true meaning, I think it was something like 2 or 3 times what it is now is what you would be paying for gasoline if all the subsidies were removed. So this will be interesting, this upcoming storm, if it does show up. What will happen? I'm a little nervous about this, but fortunately we're supposed to have fog around here, so even if we did get a lightning strike, I don't think it would cause any major fire that the department here in San Francisco couldn't handle. But we'll know, we'll keep you updated. I appreciate all the ups, the downs, the new subscribers, and definitely your comments are always welcome. Add to the forum with your comment. And until next time.